Welcome back to another episode of We Talk Fit
with Mish and Dean. So leaf blowers have gone. Audio will be perfect.
Hopefully.
Righto, we're going to talk about a little bit of a chat about injuries, maybe even a bit of surgery and rehab and that kind of jazz. You've got a bit, obviously we've chatted about my stuff, so I don't want to bleed on about my own shit all the time. But you've got, coming from a sporting background as a, young teen?
Yeah, so 15 when I first had my first major injury. Years old.
Playing?
Netball.
Okay.
Netball, yeah. So wanting to get into details of that.
Give us a bit of the sporting background first, because I know we have mentioned it in other topics where we've gone, oh yeah, you played this, you did this, but so you played sport from very young age, or
as soon as I could walk.
Yeah,
I was always trying to keep up with my older sisters, I suppose. And being from a country town,
Yep.
You've only got a handful of kids, so you end up playing earlier so that you can make a team up in a small town.
Yep.
So played netter to start with, always netball, and then was able to.
What's netter?
Netters like you little babies,
Like tiny level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 5, 6, probably. Realistically, babies basically. So played netter first. And then had the opportunity to step into the junior team, which is your under 12s, sort of to 8 years old, I suppose, 8 to 12 is what we sort of have with your age groups, because that's all you can do to make up a team. It was never just your 10-year-olds, just your 12-year-olds.
Yeah, so it's still quite broad ranges still.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity to step into juniors early than other kids, because that was pretty cool. And then played juniors for years. Actually got was quite fortunate, and my parents took me to while Dad took the other kids to their sports, Mum would take me to another town where I'd play netball in the morning, and then take me to our local towns, which travelled all around the area, the Great Southern, and play netball in the afternoon at 12 years old, or 11 and 12.
Hectic.
Yeah. So it could be anywhere from 3, 4, about 5-hour drives sometimes.
So did any of it, before we get into and go any further with it, did any of that ever, because we've talked about young athletes and schedules and all of that stuff, and I train some young athletes as you do. Did any of that ever feel too much for you, or were you just not really bothered? It was just fun.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Really enjoyed it. So when I was 10 years old up through 12 years old, I was in regional netball, so which is why I played more netball in the mornings and the afternoons and everything as well. So more games, more practice. So played for, we were called the Blue Gums, and we'd play up in Perth, up here, and play against other regions in the state. And then from there, I played, because we didn't have any teenager teams. So as soon as you turn 13, you can't play in the junior netball team anymore.
Okay.
So I actually played at 13 years of age. I'd play in the ladies netball. And when I was 14 against the ladies team, so I just played B grade, because we only had the 2 ladies divisions, and being so young and little, I managed to get runner-up fairest and best at 14 years old against
Cool.
all the ladies. Still
And
played
at
regional
no point
netball.
you were dominating for height.
No.
Given that you're
Shortest.
3 foot nothing as it is.
Yeah.
Oh no,
So,
cool. That's cool.
yeah, that was pretty cool. And then went away to school, still played sport. Went down to Albany, played netball 15 years old, and I did my first knee. So ruptured my ACL, complete tear. I don't remember if I tore my meniscus then or not, but I've done that. Went in for I actually went to ED first, and they said that I'll be back playing in a couple of weeks.
Of course I did.
So, fortunately, we have a bit of experience with ED and doctors and stuff, and know to go to a specialist in their area. So we went to an orthopedic surgeon and like got referred, got MRIs, and I had ruptured my ACL. Had surgery on it. I was uh, when it comes to rehab at 15 years old, you're pretty lax, I suppose. You get a little bit lazy
So
when you.
this is what I kind of want to delve into a
Uh
bit.
huh.
Like, understandably, 15-year-olds aren't meant to and don't understand long-term discipline and work and
Hmm.
stuff
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. So that I want to get your take on it
Hmm.
because you're saying, by your own admission, you were a bit lax, and then I want to open that conversation up a little bit about how we are with people now.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I was a bit. I was like, oh, she'll be right, sort of attitude as a 15-year-old does, and like I did a little bit of it, made sure that I could bend my knee, and did some of it. But I certainly didn't do as much as what I could have. And because I did it when I was away at school, as a boarding school, um, it was a more out of town where I boarded and where I went to school. It wasn't in Albany, so it's a 20-minute drive to get back into the city, into the town. Um, so I didn't have access to a gym, didn't have access to a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
realistically. Um, but got back playing sport again, got back on the netball court. And I was actually back playing regional netball within 9 months. So even though I didn't, and I wasn't strict with my rehab, I got back playing again, got back training again, and we actually won that competition, which was the first time the Great Southern won, which was pretty cool. And then the following year, literally, not even 12 months later, I started playing basketball, same courts, did my other knee, playing basketball, um, and then had to go through all the rehab and the everything again, and
So
gave
you
up.
were 16, 17 by.
17 by then. Yeah.
Oh.
Um, and then I stopped playing netball and basketball and just played hockey. Kept playing that for a while. Uh, and then I was asked to fill in for a team for netball about 3 years later, 4 years later, 5 years later, and did my knee a third time.
And was it, so obviously you don't have three legs, so was it one of the previous injuries reoccurring, or was it,
Just no access to a gym. So basically, I hadn't done any strength training to strengthen up the muscles around my knee, essentially.
so there's loads of that we can use as like a test case to sort of unpack and chat about a few things. One is, so without trying to be unflattering to you, that's like 13 years ago ish. Is that right?
Yeah.
Doing the math?
Yep.
40? Yeah, I'm not
13.
going to be very careful
Yeah.
about what I say next. Um,
10 years ago for my last one.
for you, yeah, yeah. I meant, so if we go back to like more or less the first one, that's what,
A
14
little
years
bit
ago.
longer.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to be polite. Um, so even in that time frame, though, like coaches or PTs or physios or whatever's understanding of strength and conditioning and what it might look like for different age groups, different athletes, different sports
Hmm.
has come on leaps and bounds.
Hmm.
So we know by the data and the evidence that we talked a little bit about over specializing as early kids, as early teens, sorry, and that there's not as much need for it. We want them to be well-rounded
Yeah.
athletes, try multiple sports. They all help each other until they get into their sort of mid to late teens, and then they can start focusing on one sport if they want to. And that S&C work or strength work would kind of go in that direction with them.
Hmm.
But I'm going to hazard a guess that you were obviously loving, because our first thing I asked you was, were you enjoying it? Or did it feel like hard work? And you're like, nah, I just loved playing the sport. It
Hmm.
was great. You got around, you got out of town.
Got to meet
All
other
the,
people from other towns because I played in a completely different town and I joined a team from that town. So it was all kids that I never went to school with and got to play and meet other people, which was cool.
So you got like all the good bits, which are the most important bits of particularly junior sport, but any sport, I guess, is the enjoyment and the fun and the community and all those things we've chatted about. But we could say with hindsight, if we brought that to today's day, we could potentially reduce the risk of injury. It doesn't mean that accidents aren't going to happen.
Mhm.
What, well, the first time you did your first knee, what actually happened? Can you remember? Or did you just turn your body
Um,
one way? And typically ACLs is normally
mm,
the femur going a different direction to the lower part of the leg.
yeah, so I think I landed with my first one, just landed and gave way and snapped. Didn't do very well with that one. Um,
So you're asking a ligament
yeah, I can't.
that
That
crosses the
one.
joint to basically take impact and stop two different bones or multiple bones, but two major ones doing that. And
Mhm.
you're asking one ligament,
To
or
hold it all together,
briefly for a split second, you've asked one ligament to hold that together when you land and turn at the same time,
pretty much. And then this,
which is what happens when footy players do their
yeah,
ACLs and things. Yeah.
yeah. The second one, I had stolen a ball from another player and turned to like just tapped it away in the basketball.
Oh, I thought you meant like actually stole it and ran away with it.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, well, she was, dribbling down the court. I managed to tap it away, and I ran after the ball, and as I turned to go
Yeah.
after the ball, twisted, lower body stayed above my knee, turned. And then my third one was definitely landing. So just ran out to intercept the ball and, jumped up, and as I landed, it just went yoink.
It's like like we've talked, we get out four-wheel driving and things at the weekend. It's like you go over a bump and your front wheel comes off the deck and it's spinning with a load of power being thrown to that wheel, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the car comes back down and it lands. You can imagine the stress and the tension that's put through everything that's going to that drive shaft, that's going to that wheel. It's kind
Mm,
of the same thing as we're
yeah.
talking about. You've put so much force and effort in, and when you land, unless you've done some serious strengthening work around the knee, and even then, you're still
Yeah.
asking it to do way beyond what its normal jobs are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so there's a potential that, in hindsight, you might have been able to, but again, like, we're never trying to do so much protective work that we get away from the sport and from the fun.
Yeah.
Um, but I know, like, I think we've talked about, I'm fortunate enough to work with a few younger athletes. Um, One in particular used to struggle with a lot of knee issues, not to the point where he's had to have surgery on them. But I would have said he was probably at risk of something like that, given how much pain he was in running, jumping,
Mhm.
played footy, so AFL. I basically trained him for probably the first 6 months in a like a rehab or prehab mindset.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he's he would have been 13 and a half, 13 when I started training him. So the last thing he wants to do is learn about why this works this way and slow down and
Yeah.
control and tempo and I'm going to
Yeah.
get you to pause and all of this boring shit. But fortunately, he's a brilliant kid that listens
Yeah.
and he must like the sound of what I say. So he did all of that work. And the first sort of major milestone was running pain free.
Yeah.
Um,
Beautiful.
After we'd been able to run pain free, we then took that onto a football field where there's impact involved, and then you're
Mhm.
kicking a ball with repetitive action and stuff. Um, then we sort of took it into his lifestyle, which now he's learned the discipline of being consistent and the rewards that can come with it from a pain point of view. We
Mhm.
can now go, well, imagine if we did all of our other movements with that same control and same
Yeah.
discipline and consistency, we could be generally fitter and generally healthier and make better choices with food. And so it's a long thing. It's not just limited to injury and surgery, but I
Yeah.
was just like, I wanted to use it as a bit of an example of now we know what we know, and we're 10,
Yeah.
15 years later, you can get hold of kids as long as they as long as they or their parents are patient enough to want to do
Yeah. And it's
the
also there's
work.
a lot more science out there now, like it used to be. A lot of the kids can't lift because 'cause they're growing or, you got this or that, or there's all these,
Yeah,
um, little
myths.
yeah, I suppose, yeah, myths
We
around
should
it
do an
and
episode on debunking myths sometime. So
yeah, we should, shouldn't we? Um, so, whereas it's not you can still do, like, get in a gym and do some weights and stuff. It doesn't have to be PBs, it doesn't have to be
nah,
like,
let it,
powerlifting, um, targeted. That's not
like
always what they wanna come in for.
the most their PBs or their equivalent of PBs are going to probably be on the field. That's where they want them to happen. They want to kick a goal or they want to, I don't know, have a great game playing backline or whatever it might be. That's to them, that's the PB.
Yeah,
So the stuff in the gym is still what's enabling them to get the
to
PB.
get
It's
that.
just not in the same setting.
Yeah, yeah. So, but
So back to your sort of like from the first one happening and then into the second one, and not really that long, years, but not in the great scheme of things,
mm,
not that long between them all. You would, by your own admission, say you weren't as disciplined or as solid with rehab
yeah, definitely
for
not.
some valuable reasons too, important reasons.
Yeah, so it
Not
wasn't
having access to a
not
gym. So,
having access to a gym, um, and not fully understanding either way back then, like,
no,
the importance of it. Um, so I think it was about 5 months from when I got back playing netball after my first one. It was about 5 months later because it was, basketball season. I did my second one, went back to the surgeon, he's like, "Yeah, I knew I'd see you back here. Usually people overcompensate and come back with the other knee."
yeah, true.
So, because it was my opposite knee that I did with my second one. Um, but yeah, sort of in hindsight, would have been amazing to know that people do overcompensate because I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
just went out and played because I felt great and, you know, just back into it as a kid. You tend to bounce back a lot easier. Um, and I guess looking back, I would have loved to have known that that's what happens majority of the time because then I probably would have been a little bit stricter with some of the
yeah. But
work or
again,
looked
like
for.
how much as a teenager, like how much are you going to listen to adults like about boring stuff as well? So that's a really hard battle to try and win. Um, but yeah, some things we'll have to learn the hard way, and then fingers crossed we don't do it again and
So
repeat the
yeah,
same mistake. But so you've had obviously. So where are your knees at now? Like I know the answer to that, but for the people that are listening and stuff,
yeah. I mean,
generally speaking, they're pretty good. We
really
have
good.
days
Yeah,
where you
days where they're
have to wake
sore.
them up a little bit.
Yeah, days where they're a bit sore and tender. I mean, cold mornings, things like that definitely play a part. Um,
You're getting old, mate.
mm, little bit old, little bit old. Um, I mean, yeah, they sort of ache every now and then, but there's days where my knee will hurt just to walk, but I still step in the gym and I still jump in under a bar and hit some decent weights and some decent depth
Yeah.
squatting, and then I walk away squatting and I'm like, it hurts to walk, but it doesn't hurt to squat. Mm.
Yeah. So
So
there's a few ways of looking at that. One is like first of all, you're not letting it stop you.
mhm,
Second of all, is you're listening to the messages that you're getting or the feedback that you're getting from your body because they're all like little warning lights going off on your dashboard.
mm,
Thirdly, like if I was your coach, I'd be thinking about, okay, I still did never want to detract from your goals in the gym and your PBs and your depth and your squats and those things, but I actually want to win some of those other battles. I want you walking around without pain.
without pain.
That would
Yeah.
be, and even if like the client themselves, if we put it in a client coach basis, isn't that bothered by that, they can kind of put up with the uncomfortableness as long as it doesn't stop them doing this. That's fine, but you could still have that goal as their coach
Mm,
and have that running in the background, which I've done with lots of people.
yeah. Yeah. It's generally not be like a day where I'm walking around a bit sore, having a bit of a limp or whatever. But if that's my leg day, I'll jump in and see if it's okay. Like, don't get me wrong, I
Yeah.
don't just go and squat and still be in pain.
No, 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 you're
Um,
listening to it. Yeah, yeah,
but I'll
yeah.
give it a try and see how I go. And then I'm like, yeah, cool, I can actually squat and it doesn't hurt at all. That's fine. Um, and the next day it's fine. But when I very first actually stepped into a gym after my knee reconstructions, when I had access to a gym when I moved to Perth, I refused to do lunges. It hurt.
Yeah,
Um,
they tend to.
the movement hurt, the depth hurt trying to get into a squat and things like that. But then over time, I was like, oh, okay, well, it's a bit more uncomfortable than super painful. I'm just gonna push through that pain, and see how we go. Did that for a while, and then lunge without pain.
It's the lunge one's a real interesting one. So, like, anybody that's ever worked with me will know most sessions you're going to do some form of single leg work
Yeah.
for similar things that we're looking at today, like injury prevention, strengthening around joints, stability. How many clients have you had where it's a bit of a funny one, but they've got a knee complaint because we don't know if it's an injury or a strain or whatever, or might even be rehab from something we are aware of? How many clients have you had where it's the right knee and yet it can do a lunge, whether it's a static lunge or a walking lunge, and when that leg is the leading leg, it's fine.
Mhm.
But when it's the trailing leg, the one that's bent
That
down
hurts
behind,
more.
it hurts more.
Yeah.
And that's evidence in itself that when that joint or when that limb has to become the stabilizer. So it's not doing most of the up down portion of the lunge. It's actually just doing the stabilization bit,
Stabilizing.
which is this bit.
Yeah.
It's in pain. So that's evidence in itself. So, first of all, if you're working through this coming back from an injury, you're probably doing the right thing if it's like a 1 or a 2 or maybe it's even a 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
But if you've not had surgery and an injury and you've got that, it's screaming out, giving you the information that there's stuff to be strengthened there, not, oh, my knee hurts, I can't
I
do
can't
lunges.
do anything.
Like,
Yeah.
it's, yeah. So that's where
Yeah.
we like to think we know what we're talking about, where we find the right type of lunge and we build that, and then
And then you
we
build the
improve the
next.
range, and yeah.
Yeah. So I often explain, especially because when I first started, it was like, no, I'm not doing that. It hurts. And then go, oh, it's a bit more uncomfortable than painful. Righto, we'll give it a try again. Um, and that got better. Like, it was the uncomfortable pain went away. And that's what I sort of explain to people as well when I'm training them. It's like, your body, you know what you're feeling. But if it's an uncomfortable pain sort of feeling, and it's, that 1 to 3 sort of threshold, we want to try and push through that a little bit, but not if it is a super painful stabbing pain or whatever, then we pull you out and we work on other movements to strengthen it.
Yeah.
Um, and that can go for your back, it can go for your knees, your ankles, whatever. Like, that's fine. But if you just stop all the time, nothing's gonna get better. If you just
Yeah.
like, right, that's it, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, like, that hurts, can't do this.
You're actually going to go backwards because you're not just not strengthening connective tissue anymore, ligaments, tendons, cartilages, and things all around the joints.
Mhm.
You're actually now not moving. You're not promoting like the synovial fluid to get to the joints and be in there and lubricate things. And
Mhm.
there's lots of other things that are going to happen. Like your arthritis type scenarios setting in and those things that will happen when there's no movement.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you're actually opening the door to other bigger
Yeah.
issues
Yeah. Other
through lack
potential.
of movement.
Yeah.
Literally, you find how many times have we said you find what you can do and you do that really well till you can progress it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like I've got, it's a slightly different scenario, but still surgery involved. I've got an 80-odd-year-old client in here that, again, I'm not going to say exactly because I'm trying to be polite, but she's had 2 full knee replacements.
Mhm.
So I didn't know when she had the first one done, but she's now 6 months. 9 months since she had the surgery, 6 months since she's been training with me, and we've taken her from barely being able to bend her knee because it's a brand new metal joint
Yeah. Yeah.
to so the first thing we've got to do is just get it moving, like, to
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
range we think is going to be realistic for at that age, like probably for the rest of our life,
Yeah. Yeah. Get the
to
range
put
of
it
motion back.
bluntly.
Yep.
So we've got loads of range through it, and then we can start like sort of loading it sensibly in the end ranges. We've definitely chatted about this before. Um, Trying to create stability so she's a little surer on her feet when she's walking around, in the shops
Yeah.
and she's unstable and things. So it's very similar
Mm.
to, coming back from, the surgery or the injury. It's just that it wasn't a tear or anything. She just needed this bigger picture thing done because
Yeah.
of whether it be arthritis or whatever it might have
Yeah.
been.
Yeah. No cartilage left or no. Yeah. Meniscus left in there. Yeah. And it's just you go through all that sort of stuff. You want to get your range of motion back first before you do. You want to first off, you want to try and mitigate the pain. Try and make sure that there's no pain in any of the movement as best you can, range of motion, etc. Before you start completely loading it up.
And then once you've got the range, you'll figure out which are the weak points of the range. And that's obviously telling you straight away where you need to be able to build the strength. Then you would probably build strength through the full range,
Mm.
different points of the range to the full range. Then you could potentially add speed
Hmm.
and power to that range. So you're testing the extremities, the ability to put the accelerator on fast, but also the brake.
Hmm.
Um, this is all very typical information. You have to look at each case individually.
Yeah.
But when we're working with general population clients, like, they might not have had an injury or surgery, but everybody's got some things they're good at and some things they're not good at.
Hmm.
And we would use the same approach to someone that's like we're going to use the knees as an example, but someone that comes in here and doesn't lunge and doesn't squat and those things and is very stiff in their legs, and like, just because they haven't had surgery or an injury, you can still reverse engineer the same process
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
so that they can then train those joints properly and then get the benefits that would come from a health and strength point of view from training those joints properly.
Hmm.
Um, it's all it's all the same. Like,
Same
we just
concept
get
for
better at
everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
we just get better at spotting stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and then to sort of tailor it back to, like, if you were a 15-year-old now coming in here and
Hmm.
your mum or dad had sent you in and said, "Hey, Dean, Michelle's got a bit of a dicky knee going on. We've Let's just say we've caught it before it became a big injury,"
Hmm.
would be doing the same stuff the other way around to try and bulletproof your knee before it happened.
Before it happens. Yeah.
And like, yeah. So what did you feel, just to try and get back to your scenario a bit more, just we kind of went off on a
That's all
tangent.
right.
What mentally, being injured and not playing and stuff, how did that affect you at that age? Because you're quite you don't think you are, and obviously we all have things that bother us more than others, but you have quite an old-fashioned mindset with stuff, being a country girl and those
Hmm.
values. So you're a get up and go and get on with shit type of person.
Yeah.
You
So
don't let things stop you, really. But that doesn't mean you're not upset by something. So
I coached.
yeah, okay.
Like yeah. I guess couldn't play, couldn't do much or whatever. I had the surgeries, nice big hip to ankle splint, etc. But I coached. Um, got into that side of it a bit. When I finished regional netball and things, and I couldn't play anymore due to age, not due to injury. Um, I was assistant coach for regionals as well, um, and just got involved and hung around and still watched, but struggled because I'm super competitive.
Yeah, yeah, that's what
So
I'm like.
watching things on the sideline, I found really hard because I'm sort of like, oh, don't throw it there, or like sort of like,
Yeah.
"Eh." But
It never leaves you either, that urge.
yeah, um, but I mean, you just get on with it. Just do what you can, be there, support, get frustrated,
Yeah,
but like no major like bad feelings or anything with it, I suppose. No,
you're pretty good with it.
yeah, just got on with it.
But there's kids out there that like, their sport means the world to them, which doesn't mean it meant any less to you. It's just, again, I have a feeling that that's how you deal with most things. You're quite strong-minded in that sense.
Well, to be playing competitive at 15, to be playing competitive regional netball, so playing against the rest of the state, and in a full blown competition with multiple games a day over a long weekend, 9 months after my knee reconstruction meant that I was training and playing the season within 6 months of my injury. I didn't just start playing or
Yeah.
training nine
Yeah, yeah,
months.
yeah.
So it's not like I was out for 9 months or 12 months. I was only out for 5 to 6 by the time I sort of got back in playing again.
Yeah. It's like it's again, to use the word again, it's that whole hindsight thing. It's like what might you have been capable of with some strength and conditioning
Hmm.
work alongside just the natural fact that you were young and obviously healing quite well and bloody minded about not stopping. Because that's also an important part. Like we talk about like letting the pain dictate, "Oh, I'm not going to move anymore." The client I mentioned before, the older lady, like she's as bloody minded as I am. So I want some goals for her as much as she does, or maybe even more.
More, yeah.
And she'll come in and with very sort of almost, she's quite brave the way she trains, because you can see how uncomfortable some things are.
Mm,
But she's just not going to let it dictate.
yeah.
But she's also come and spoke to someone that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot to be said for that.
Mm.
If there's a coach or an adult or whatever it might be that you trust to give you the best advice, it's probably worth.
Haven't, yeah.
Actually, not even just a coach, like because it might not be an athlete, just general population. With any goal, we've talked about reaching out to people that you.
That you trust, that you know that, yeah, get that help, support, guidance.
So no ambitions to play masters, or you're not old enough for masters yet. Like, but
Yeah. Nah, the 30s. I
what
can
is it
play
like?
the over 30s. I
I
can
was going to
play
say,
the
the
over
netball have
30s.
the same sort of categories?
Yeah.
I would have to play masters in any sport I played, by the way.
No, they've actually they were doing a walking netball game. I'd be able to do that one. No running and jumping and sprinting. Um, no, no plans to go back to netball or basketball. Um, and join the gym.
I know how
Till
busy you are, but you would make a really good coach. But I know how busy you are, so I wouldn't recommend you doing it. Because yeah, you just don't have time to put it in your schedule.
no, I don't.
You'd find a bloody way to put it in there, but don't. Please
No,
don't.
as I say, you want something done, ask a busy person. Um, no, probably not back into netball and stuff. I don't particularly feel like having a fourth one. The likelihood is high, and
Yeah.
you know, at my tender age, 21, I don't particularly want a fourth knee reconstruction, even though I've done a lot of strength work and training and stuff around it. Just out for too long. I just don't have the time for the rehab that I know I'd need.
Yeah, because now you would know how thorough it would be done. And yeah.
Hmm.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for going through all that.
Yeah,
Hopefully, we've
got a quick one.
encouraged people to, I don't know, we've been rabbiting on a fair while. I hope it's encouraged people to not let injuries stop them, but to be aware of things and listen to those messages. And
Yeah, yeah.
is there anything else you want to add to that to summarize or?
Not really. No, I've pretty much covered most of it. Just
Cool.
push through the uncomfortable, but don't push through the pain.
That was better than I would have put it. Thanks,
Mm,
mate.
done.
Cheers, buddy.